Yo, what is up guys, and welcome back to a brand new league racing video. Today is WOR round 6, I think so, around Silverstone. I'm not sure if it's round 6 actually. But Silverstone, as you guys might know, not my strongest track, so it's gonna be interesting to see how we can do today around here. And try to close the gap to Lucas Blakely in the championship, because at this point he is around 60 points ahead, I think so. Yeah, we need to start closing that gap if we want to have a chance in the championship. I'm out.
Okay.
Because yeah, otherwise we're not fighting for the championship. At the moment we're not fighting for the championship anyway, because we don't have the pace. We haven't had the pace in the past few rounds, but we're trying very hard to close the gap, of course, as you guys might know. So yeah, that's what we're trying to do. Out for our first Q1 run here. Around Silverstone, and I've practiced quite a lot for this race, not gonna lie, as it is a weak track for me, so I felt like I had to be on it.
Yep.
And yeah, usually Silverstone is in F1 Esports as well, so it's not bad to practice around here quite a lot anyway. And it's been in F1 Esports, I think, every year since it started, so yeah, it's not very handy if it's your weakest track, so that's why I'm practicing hard around here to try and get on top of things before F1 Esports starts. And at the same time, it's also one of the best tracks to just figure out the setup, because it has all kind of corners, and that just really helps understanding the setup. So that's why I'm grinding this out pretty hard, and that's why we're gonna try and go into Q2 on a single set of tires. That's usually always the aim, but it's just very hard to do that, especially if you don't have the pace. We need to nail a lap in low grip conditions, basically, if we want to do that. And that way, if we do, we manage to have a shot at pole position, basically, because then we will have 2 new sets of tires for Q2 and 2 new sets of tires for Q3. But now, let's head into it. 8th gear into turn 1. And try to cut it inside as much as possible. And the same for this one, to try and get a little bit extra rotation into the next right. And the 4th gear throughout this whole section, basically. And be smooth. You have to wait until the front bites into the asphalt before you start turning more and putting on the lock. Otherwise you would just wash out with understeer. Into sector 2 then. Very easy to lock up the inside front here. 0.308 first sector. And again, very hard corner, easy to mess up the exit. You have to carry a lot of speed, but exit also is very important, as Matthijs gets nicely out of the way for us there. Into cops, it's not flat out in this year's game. Little lift, a little bit too safe, I think so as well. And then maggots and baggets. Try and carry as much speed as possible without sacrificing one corner for the other. Last sector coming up now. 103.062 middle split. Into Stowe. Easy to run wide with understeer and get track limits. But we managed to keep it on the island and push it to the limit. Tomac goes to P1 with a 126.8. We're probably gonna have to go a lot faster than that if we want to get into Q2. Up to the line, it is gonna be a 126.733. And it's P1 for now. And you can see Marcel Kiefer and Lucas Blakely both behind us. So that shows that it's good enough of a lap, probably, to get into Q2, as those guys are usually on it. And as you can see, we only use 1 set of tires there to get into Q2. Same for Lucas Blakely. Marcel Kiefer did go out again in Q1, as he felt like his first Q1 lap was not good enough. So that has put him on the back foot for the rest of quali. Liam Parr now goes to P1 in the first run of Q2. We go slightly faster than that.
Massive stinker.
But yeah, 110 improvement from Q1 is not enough to get into Q3 possibly. So we have to go out again, but we've got the tires to do so. So we just need to make sure. We just need to make sure that we nail that last one. You can see that P6 as we come into the pits. Tom Manley, Luke Smith ahead of us, and Lucas Blakely and Marcel Kiefer, I think so. So yeah, this one counts, and this one has to be on it. We can't invalidate, because that will possibly see us go out in Q2 here into turn 1 and 2. Already 200s up. And then this section is also, it's just every corner so easy to make a mistake and lose so much time around here, because one corner very often leads into another. So if you mess up that first one, you're also gonna mess up the second one, and that's just basically with every corner around this circuit. As you can see there, pretty good first split, good improvement from from Q1 as well. And now smooth on the throttle to have a good exit. 1.6 tens up from our previous lap. Into cups, small lift again. And that was not the greatest, missed the apex a little bit. And had to lift again mid-corner, so that was not great. And we lost a little bit of time there probably. Now this wall section, much better than on the previous lap. Another half-ton gain. Marcel Kiefer goes P1 with a 1:26.333. And that's a very, very solid lap from him. Into stall we go. Trying to keep the back end stable on the exit. Usually it's understeer on entry and oversteer on the exit. And that's just the nature of that corner. Now into the final two corners. Bit of a moment. And that cost us some time. But it is going to be enough. As you can see, we're still only in P10. 26.4 in Q2. With still some people to finish. But you can see there Lucas coming across the line. Goes P1. We are 1/10 off. Wasn't my greatest lap anyway, so yeah, I think there's more time, and I think we do have a chance for pole position here, which doesn't happen often around Silverstone. Jake Benham, P6, our teammate, and Liam Parnell, Luke Smith, Alfie Butcher, and Jack West all go out in Q2, and now we've got a side here that it doesn't happen often. 2 new sets of tires for Q3 is pretty rare for me. It's pretty rare. But we take it. And now we're going to try and put in a very, very solid banker. You can see we're nearing our first, the end of our first push lap on a new set of tires. And that just builds confidence for the last run. Alvaro Carreton goes P1 with a 1:26.248. Has 2 new sets of tires as well. Up to the line, we go almost a 10 slower. So we have to improve. We have to improve. Lucas smashes that out of the window and goes almost 2 tenths faster. So this last lap is going to be important for us. We have to improve by quite a bit if we want to fight for pole position here. We probably have to do a low 0.1 if Lucas has already done a mid 0.1. And yeah, that's going to be hard. Not going to lie. For us, it's going to be hard. Into turn 1 we go. We're going to have to cut that a lot. You can see we're on the edge of track limits there. And into turn 1, we're going to have to just brake that a little bit later. Carry that little bit more speed. And get just that little bit better exit. And as you can see there, half 10 up on the apex. But we lost a little bit on the exit. So 300s up. And we need to gain a lot more time if we want to fight for pole position here. First split is a 27.198. Again, a solid improvement from our Q2 lap. But it needs to be better in the middle sector if we want to get pole position here. Almost 110 up. We push that exit really, really on the edge of track limits. Into cops now. We messed this up in Q2, but this time we get it hooked up pretty nicely. And you can see half a 10 improvement into Maggots and Beckett's now. This is gonna have to be absolutely on it. Beckett wants to step out on entry, but we managed to keep it on the island. And this exit looks very good for now. Nicolas Longue goes P1 with a 0.148. And into the last sector we go. It's gonna be 1.5 tenths up for us, which would mean 26.18. So we have to find more time if we want to go pole position here. I lost a little bit of time on the exit of Stowaway at that moment. But we're still finding time in this last corner. You can see a better exit than the previous one. It's going to be a close one for pole position. And 1,000 away from Nicolas.
Pretty decent though.
Better than the usual. Oh, much more on white.
Especially around here.
Where did I end up before?
A club, P4.
So as you can see there in the end, we lost out to Nicolas Longuet by 1/1000th of a second. We went purple in the last sector, but we just lost too much in the first and in the second. So that's something we have to work on before F1 Esports. Yeah, 1/10 off Lucas. It is getting better. As you guys might know, we were way further off in the past PSGL races. But we're closing the gap slowly but surely. We were 0.5 off Alvaro there.
So almost certainly on mediums.
On to the race now. Qualifying is done. We're P4, and that gives us a shot at the win. You basically just have to start top 5 to fight for wins in F1 Esports. This is not F1 Esports, it's league racing, but still. As we now go on to the race, it's going to be 5 red lights. Lucas Blakely, pole sitter on the hards. Everyone else around him on the mediums, and behind us quite a lot of people on hards as well. So the start is going to be pretty treacherous for Lucas Blakely. Nicolas Longuet goes for the switchback, so do we. And up to P3 we go. Lucas struggling on this opening lap on those hards. As Nicolas Longuet and Alvaro Carton go side by side into this next section. They give each other just about enough space. And up to P3 we go. Jake Benham behind us from P9 on the softs. He is having an absolute rocket start, as those softs are just working much better. Much more grip when the tires are cold, and that's why we're letting him go. No point in fighting this.
Faster.
As you can see, he's having a little go at Alvaro Carreton now, and it shouldn't be too much hassle to get past him and Nicolas Longuet, as he's going to have so much more grip. But of course he will have to sacrifice in his second stint, as those softs will drop off pretty fast in this race. So maximum he can go, I think, is lap 10, and that's a massive stretch. So he is gonna struggle. He's gonna have to pull out of Nicolas his DRS really fast if he wants to have any sort of chance of getting on the podium this race. And down the inside of Stowe he goes. Nicolas has to give way there, and now end of lap 1, Jake has gone from P9 to P1 with the help of the tires, of course. And now he's gonna open that gap pretty fast. He will have to, because otherwise he is will ruin his race basically. So Luke is still behind us, half a second. He is our main threat this race, together with Alvaro Carreton and Nicolas Longuet. As we need, as much we're fighting Nicolas and Alvaro, we need to work together here, not fight too much in these opening laps, and just pull away. And just pull away from Lucas's DRS window. You can see here we're getting DRS.
Approximately 40%.
And yeah, we need to work together to get out of the DRS window. Lucas did get DRS there, but he is struggling with his ERS more and more. And Alvaro and Nicolas are pushing for this exact reason as well. They just want to they just want to get rid of Lucas as well at this point in time, because he is going to be a major threat later on in this race on the strategy he is on. So we need to kind of work together here, and that's why Nicolas is pushing so hard. You can see he is around 9/10 ahead of Alvaro Carreton. Alvaro just about got DRS, and now we're using our battery to pull that 1 second gap to Lucas. His tires are only going to get better from here, so we need to make moves fast when he's struggling, because otherwise we're just going to help him more and more in this race. As you can see, I am trying to close up as much as possible to the back of Alvaro, and I'm using the overtake again on this exit to make sure we get ahead or out of that 1.1 second window, which we've done, as Matthijs gets a 3-second penalty. So now we just need to hope Lucas starts struggling and battling the likes of Matthijs. But yeah, Lucas is smart enough to probably not do that as well.
Blakely 20%, Alvaro 25%.
Copy.
So as you can hear my engineer say there, Lucas and Alvaro both on around 20%, as Jake has been passed by Nicolas. He was out of DRS, but yeah, as I said earlier on, you get a huge advantage from starting on the softs, but you will pay the price later on in the race, and that's what happening right now. Sorry, Jake can probably go another 1, maximum 2 laps, but his tires are falling off a cliff, and 1 lap later he just got dropped by Nicolas, and now he's getting passed by Alvaro as well. So most likely he will pull into the pits right here, as you can see, and now me and Alvaro are gonna be pushing to close that gap to Nicolas again, because Nicolas is out of the DRS window. Luckily, I think we both had quite a lot of ERS, so once again we're gonna be pushing the ERS in these next few laps to first of all catch up to Nicolas, and also get out of the DRS from Lucas once again, because he is in the DRS, which is not what we really want, to be honest. So we're pushing it, and Matthijs hasn't made any moves just yet. I think he's just trying to stay with Lucas, and yeah, race his own race. Maybe Matthijs is not confident enough. He will have the pace
Lucas
later
DRS.
on. So yeah, Matthijs just chilling in the DRS
Again,
of
about 19%.
Lucas, and as you can hear my engineer say, Lucas around 19%, and that shows that I think at this point he is not struggling with tires anymore. It's just that he doesn't have battery because he was dropped out of DRS earlier on. So honestly, at this point I think the hards might be even faster. You can see there he's gaining through maggots and baggets, but it's just that we once again get DRS and he doesn't, and we just get pulled along. But I don't think it will take very long anymore until Lucas gets back in the DRS, and you can see here 1 lap later, I think he just nipped into that DRS window, and then through maggots and baggets he gained more time again as well, because those hards are just working very well at this point in the race.
Lucas got the ERS.
The issue we are facing now is that
Copy.
we will have to box for hards, and Lucas will have to box for mediums, and then we have the issue that Lucas had at the start, where the hards just do not want to warm up, and that's gonna probably cost us a lot of track position. So you're not gonna get an undercut by boxing earlier, because the hard warm up takes too long, and Lucas is gonna get a huge overcut
Ahead of Jake.
compared to all people boxing for hards now. And lap 30 now, Alvaro has got past Nicolas as the pit window is approaching, so at that point you just want track position, and that's what Alvaro is doing. Alvaro seems a lot more confident at this point in the race compared to us and Nicolas, but we are pitting now for hards, and we are gonna lose a lot of track position compared to Nicolas and Alvaro. But I just did not want to box on the same lap as them, so that's why we just did the opposite to them.
Didn't want to box on the same lap as them.
Yeah, A-firm, it's the right decision.
And yeah, now we probably, once we reach the pit entry next lap, we're gonna be a lot further behind than when we boxed, but our tires are gonna be warmer than theirs. One person we have to look out for now is Jake Benham, who has boxed a few laps ago and has got a little bit more advantage out of those hard tires.
Just ahead of Jake.
And as you can see there, we did just come out ahead of Jake, 2 seconds actually. But he has those warm, nice hards, and we don't. What we do have is a full battery, and we're going to be using that on this out lap. You can see I had to wait so long with putting on the overtake button, because the tire temperature is just not there. And if I put the overtake button on too early, we get so much more power. The rear will just snap away, and that will cost us a lot of time. So just in that first sector we lost 1.5 seconds to Jake, and we would have lost around that time to Nicolas and Alvaro as well. Of course they have worn medium, so they will probably lose a little bit more compared to Jake, but they probably still gained a second just in sector 1.
Nicolas in.
As you can hear my engineer say, Alvaro and Nicolas in, and we're not gonna get an undercut, but you can see I'm trying to stay ahead of Jake by using my wall battery here, which is crucial for our race. We need track position, and that's why I'm pushing on this outlap as hard as I can, tire warm up, is just a bit of a nightmare. But, as I said earlier, Alvaro and Nicolas will have that issue. So now, you can see it's very busy in the pit lane. And we have only set red sectors. That just shows how long it takes to warm up those hearts. Probably in this lap we will set some green sectors. Now Nicolas and Alvaro coming out of the box 1.5 seconds ahead when we were within 6/10 the previous lap. And now we're not going to get any DRS on this straight. I think Nicolas will, but we have the warm tires, and you can see Nicolas just pulling away. I think he's using his battery as well here to try and create a gap, but he knows as well these warm hearts are going to be performing much better. And now we're going to have a little look around the outside of Brooklyn, so you can see we've got so much more grip. And around the outside we go of Nicolas, and that's crucial for a race. We've got track position now, and we're basically in a net P2 behind Alvaro Carreton, depending on where Lucas will come out, because Lucas is driving around on those warm hearts, and he has boxed now, so it's gonna be a question of where Lucas is gonna come out, and we need to hope that he will come out not too far ahead of us, so we can get track position. But if he gets out ahead of Alvaro, then he will have new mediums, which are gonna be much faster in the first 2, 3, 4 laps of this stint, and that is gonna be an issue because
yeah, he's gonna come out ahead.
he will be a lot faster, and he will be pulling out of the DRS from Alvaro. You can see Alvaro makes a mistake there on the exit as well, which cost him quite a lot. We are not using the overtake button. We're just saving. We know Alvaro is using, so there's no point in us using as well. And you can see there, Lucas is just miles ahead. Because yeah, he had hearts on, warm hearts, and they just perform so much better. You can see Nicolas on cold hearts has dropped another 3-4 positions. You can see Lucas aggressively trying to warm his tires there on the straight. Alvaro now all over the back of him, but he is flashing, so Alvaro is struggling with ERS, but he has warm tires, and that might make the difference, as you guys saw last lap between me and Nicolas. And now, crucial for both mine and Alvaro, his race, is that Alvaro gets ahead and just holds up Nicolas for a few laps, so that he doesn't get the advantage from the new fresh mediums. But that's very much easier said than done, because those mediums by now are up to temperature. You can see Lucas, his car is just hooking up in maggots and maggots a lot better than ours, and you can see Alvaro is trying to overtake Lucas, but which is not possible. And you can see end of lap 17 now, Lucas out of the DRS window, and he puts in a 28.7
on the line.
About 21%.
But as you can see here, there, Lucas is on 21% ERS, and even though he did go a second faster than us on that last lap, he probably did use a lot of ERS to do that, and that gives me hope that we can pull this back later on in this race. As you guys saw earlier on, Lucas managed to stay in the DRS, or come back into the DRS for us.
2.2 to Lucas. I can risk it to close the gap, but we might lose P2 because of it, obviously.
You know my attitude to that. Definitely go for it.
Yep.
And as you can hear me say there, we've got the chance of the win here. I was confident I was going to be able to get back in the DRS, but if we don't, then we risk losing P2, maybe even P3 or P4. Luckily for us, it's Marcel Kiefer behind us. He is on the same strategy as Lucas, but he boxed a few laps later, and he has a 5-second penalty, so if we lose a position to him, that is fine, because then we still keep
ERS.
Then we still keep our P2. At the line, we're at 2.8 seconds behind Lucas, and now it's time to hunt him down in those last 7 laps of the race. I'm gonna give it my absolute all. No tire saving needed, no saving needed of anything. This is just flat out 7 qualifying laps that we're gonna put in here, and we're gonna absolutely push this piece of machinery to its absolute limits. As you can see through maggots, I am on the absolute edge of what the car can give me. Front doesn't want to turn, rear wants to step out at every exit. but that's how the car behaves when you're pushing it to the limit. 2.1 seconds now, and we have increased the gap to Alvaro to 6/10 as well. You can see back end stepping out in stall.
Lucas' lap time every single lap.
Copy.
And you can see there back end wants to step out on that exit again, and that's just because we're pushing it to the absolute limit. Fastest lap was a
5.
Fastest lap from Lucas was a 28.7. You can see Tomek doing 28.7 there as well. Lucas hit 29.6, so we gained 8/10 on that last lap. On the next lap, we gained again a big chunk of time. Fastest lap of the race on those old hards. And Lucas now within 1.1 seconds. We just about gonna miss out on DRS. We gained 8/10 on that last lap, but we are running out of DRS, and pushing this hard is not very nice for my tires. So we're just gonna have to keep pushing it for a few more laps, because see, Lucas just has slightly more ERS now,
Stopped using.
and now it's just an ERS battle, and that has been it all race. And you can see Alvaro is just about managed to stay in the DRS, but you can see on this exit, Lucas is gaining again.
No, he's saving a bit more.
And you can see now we did get a better run at through cups, but again, we are just 1/10 too far away to get into DRS, and I reckon if we pushed a little bit more on this lap on the main straight with DRS, we could have gotten in again. And that's my fault. We also made a few driver mistakes. You could see me have a few moments,
So let me know, Kiefer, on the line.
in the end that would have been the difference between making it in the DRS and not making it. And that shows that this year F1 Esports is on a new level. It's just any tiniest mistake will lose you the race. And even though it was like that previous years as well,
6 and 9%.
I feel like the losses are bigger this year because there are so many more people, so more closely packed. And yeah, we just have to be better. Simple as that. Because you can see there, we are once again using, but we've lost the 10th on that last lap to Lucas. And all we can do now is just keep fighting, keep pushing as hard as I can. Every single corner my car wants to step out. But we just have to keep pushing because Lucas's tires will degrade slightly more. But once again on that exit, he had more ERS to use. And I reckon by now we will be equal in ERS, but we have to gain 2.5 somehow out of thin air. Just by driving ability. I think at this point in the race the hards are better in the high speed corners, but the mediums might be better in the slow speed corners. And yeah, that's making it tough to catch up. And even if we do manage to get into the DRS, we still need to get past as well. And without an ERS advantage, that's going to be very, very hard. As you can see now on the line, 1.2 second gap between me and Lucas. Marcel is right behind us as well.
29.2 and 11% over the line.
And
Keeper 28.9 and 11% over the line.
as you can hear, both Lucas and Marcel have more ERS at this point. And yeah, that's making life a little bit tough. So again, I'm turning on the overtake button absolutely everywhere. Just desperately trying to get the DRS from Lucas, but if we can get in by the end of this lap, we might have to let Marcel go and just hope that he can do something. Hope they fight. Hope that they tangle or anything. Because if we don't get in by the end of this lap, we're not gonna get in. And even if we do get in, we're not gonna get past. So simple as that. We need Marcel to get past. Ideally next lap. So he still has a chance to catch up as well, but that's easier said than done, of course. Because Marcel, his mediums are degrading as well. They're 1 lap fresher than 1 or 2 laps fresher than Lucas's mediums. And we can just let him go because he has that 5-second penalty, and he will just want to get as far ahead as possible of everyone. So he minimizes the damage of that 5-second penalty. So he might still finish P4 ahead of Jake. So Jake has done a good race as well, considering he started in P9, and that's starting on the soft strat.
3 and 14%. Kiefer 29.1 and 14%.
Oh, but Kiefer's gonna get me. Was it 5 seconds for speeding in the pit lane?
Yes, I think so.
So as you can see here now, Marcel getting past, he's flashing as well. And all I'm gonna do now is
Being in the pit lane.
all I'm gonna do now is sit back, not use my overtake button anymore. We're gonna charge it in this last lap. Just use Marcel as a little bit of a tow. He is still gonna be slightly faster, I think, so than us. As you can see, he did pull that gap pretty easily. And we're just gonna use that DRS from him to defend from Alvaro, because we have pushed so hard this whole stint to try and catch up to Lucas that our tires are damaged pretty badly. We don't have ERS remaining.
On. ERS.
9%.
Okay.
And as you can hear my engineer say 9%. So he's in the same boat as us, ERS wise.
Sorry,
And now we just have to sit back and pray for a miracle. But Lucas has been on it all game so far. And he's on it again around here today. Even though
Lucas
this is, I think, not his best track. I think Marcel is usually very good around here. But Marcel just did not manage to get a good Q3 lap in. But he showed once again around here today that he is one of the best, if not the best, around Silverstone. As we're now going to turn on the DRS for the second last time this race. As Marcel is just trying to extend the gap to everyone behind. Tomac did get past Jake in the end. And it looks like Jake is going to finish P6 there in the end. And Marcel will finish P4. And depending how good Tomac's last lap is. Now all we need to do is stay out of Alvaro. And get DRS in the next DRS detection zone. As you can see, DRS detection zone right in front there of Maggots and Baggots coming up on this line. And that means we are going to get DRS on the final straight. We're going to turn on the overtake button just to be clear of Alvaro. And we're going to seal P2 here today around Silverstone. Lucas was just a little bit too fast for us. Strategy wise, maybe a little bit better as well. Of course, he got the track position after that pit stop on a fresh set of mediums. And that probably cost us a little bit. We gave it our all, but it's P2 around Silverstone, one of our weakest tracks, so I take it. I think it's a good improvement from our past few races, and I'm pretty happy with that P2. So you can see there, Marcel ended up P5. Tomac actually did get Marcel in the end. Jake in P6. So once again, we lose a few more points to Lucas in the championship, unfortunately. It is what it is. Hope you guys enjoyed WOR around Silverstone nonetheless, even though we're still too slow. I'm trying desperately to catch up. I'm working very hard to make sure we are on top of every single little thing by the time F1 Esports comes. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe for more League Racing content, and see you guys next time. Ciao.